Welcome back to the program, and joining us now is Liberal MP Dennis Jensen from our Sky News Perth studio. Thanks for your time today, Dennis.
My pleasure. Good morning or good afternoon as it is there.
Exactly. We'll get into it then, because I know that you're not a believer in the man-made side of climate change. You believe it's happening but not really significantly influenced by mankind. Has any part of this report swayed you at all? Because it's pretty emphatic.
Well, it's interesting that as there's more diversion between the models and what you're actually observing, there's more strident and more definitive statements given by the IPCC. The simple fact is well over 95% of the models have not predicted the hiatus in temperature that we've seen, and there are now attempts at trying to find the so-called missing heat, which thus far has eluded researchers. There have been a whole lot of proposals put into where it may have gone, but the simple fact is there's no definitive answer there. But what we do know is that the models and observations are not fitting together very well. So I find these statements quite extreme, actually.
Okay, because you've spoken a lot about how you don't like the consensus science, the way that most of the world's scientists, climate scientists, do agree about climate change having a man-made impact and certainly some dire warnings. Given that you don't like that consensus science, how come you're so sure, or appear to be so sure, that it's not man-made climate change? That I suppose there's another group of smaller consensus that are all very certain about their own view.
Well, the point is, what you would expect if the so-called consensus was correct is that the models would have very good predictive capacity in terms of what you would observe in the temperature system. The simple fact is, for a decade and a half, there's been essentially no increase in global average temperatures despite an increase in carbon dioxide. The fact is the models have lousy predictive capacity, which tells you that there are factors in the system that are not accounted for. And just on the issue of consensus, the simple fact is arguing consensus as one of your strong points is actually a point of weakness. For example, when's the last time you heard the consensus of the Earth scientists is that the Earth orbits the Sun? These self-evident and very strongly supported in science statements, you don't need to appeal to consensus.
When you talk about the last 15 years, there are some explanations for that are put out there. For example, weather patterns at the time, and also part of the temperature being absorbed by oceans. So there's debate out there. There are some explanations for it. So suppose what I'm asking is, was there one particular piece, or is there one scientist that has made you so certain that man-made contributions to climate change aren't significant?
No, it's not any specific person or it's not an appeal to authority. It's looking at the data and the evidence and what the model outputs are projecting. And the simple fact is they're not according. The model outputs make clear that there is too much of an assumption of anthropogenic causation. And in fact, the IPCC's view is that the feedbacks, it's not just carbon dioxide that is the problem, if you will. The big issue is the feedbacks, and particularly the water cycle. And is it positive? In other words, does it amplify the issue with carbon dioxide, or is it negative, in which case it damps it? The data would seem to be to indicate that it would be neutral to a negative feedback, whereas the IPCC's view is that it's strongly positive. And indeed, there are signals that you should be observing in the system if it was a positive feedback that simply, despite a lot of looking, hasn't been found.
Okay, when it comes to taking action against man's or mankind's contribution, your party does have this direct action plan that's just been legislated. Are you still a supporter of that? And I was reading one part of it that spoke about the baseline safeguards, where companies can possibly buy certificates from emissions reductions projects, approved projects. Now, that's companies possibly trading emissions with each other. It sounds a little bit like an ETS.
Yes, but the major portion of direct action, of course, is things such as soil carbons and so on, which actually obviously have a distinct benefit in terms of crop yields, that sort of thing. We also have the Green Army, which has benefits not only environmentally but also in terms of assisting people to young people to get skills that will help them with work. And it's not just the skills per se, but also the social networks that they build up that will help in that regard. So,
but the heart of it's this $2.5 billion to reduce emissions, I should say, with this fund, and as I said, a form of an ETS possible down the track with trading with each other. Are you a supporter of that?
Look, I'm not an emissions trading fan at all, and in my view, quite frankly, if the global warming issue was the serious issue that the IPCC puts forward, where money should be invested, in my view, is into fundamental research into alternative energy systems. For instance, Lockheed Martin has revealed that they've got a very compact fusion reactor that's they believe could be commercialised within 10 years. So these are the sorts of things we should be doing rather than attempting to force uneconomic schemes, power generating schemes onto the market. The market simply won't pick it up, and it won't help in an international regard either. I mean, Australia's only a very small emitter compared with, you know, global competition, if you will.
Dennis Jensen, we are right out of time, but thank you for your time today on Lunchtime Agenda.
Thank you very much.